Good afternoon, Bloomington. It is Friday at 3 p.m. You're listening to WIUX LP Bloomington, and this is Growing Pains, the show where we do a lot of cool things, including interviewing local artists. I am joined today in the studio by one of those artists, Westhead.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Max. Welcome to the show. It is your second time on.
Indeed.
I have to let the the listeners know something, to be journalistically sound. Max and I are indeed in a relationship.
What an item.
We are an item, a duo. But I'm not going to let this cloud getting the best information out of this interview. But yeah, last time you were here, we were talking about And Just Like That, which was your debut album. Last night, your sophomore album, Double Dares and Fault Lines, dropped. Congratulations.
Thanks.
How do you feel?
It's a very weird feeling to have something that is so intensely mine, but also so intensely everybody else's who worked on it. And I'm so I keep just going back and forth in my brain about being so grateful for everybody who worked on it, and also just thinking about personally what it means to me. So it's just it's overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed. I haven't been able to really step back today and think about it. So I think in the next couple of days it'll really hit. But I feel good. I'm proud of the work, and I'm excited that people are getting to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exciting if you just posted a little shout out, thank you on the Westhead Instagram, and there's a lot of folks involved in the
40.
making. Holy cow.
The count is 40.
And we're going to name them all. You're going to list them off the top of your head.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I won't make you do that. But we are going to do a listen through of most of the album. We are not listening to I Ask Myself Again. But
Track 4, because I cursed. And I don't have a clean version.
Right. And I was lazy and I didn't want to.
Also, it's the longest song, so we might as well save some time for talking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree. But I think we should, there's a lot to talk about with this album. I think we should just kick it off, though, with the title track.
One of the title
tracks. The DD of Double Dares and Fault Lines. We're about to listen to Double Dares. What can you say about this one before we begin?
This is this song was probably the biggest labor of love. It took this album was one of those things where once I really got into the groove of it, all the songs just kind of came at once, except for this song and also the sixth song. Both of this song and the sixth song, Postman's Dream, were the first things I started, and I chipped away at them for 2 months, and then as soon as those were finishing up, all the rest came. So, and this one's got, I'll talk about the musicians on it more afterwards, but yeah, I love the song.
A labor of love. Amazing.
Labor of love.
We're going to listen to Double Dares by Westhead. Everyone, enjoy.
All the days when you lifted me over still so much to see. Biking down every street, double daring me, it's all the same. I'm so glad that you're here. It's been too many years. Let me speak in your ears so I can know which way to go. Every house we pass, every joke you crack now. Hearts the words that come falling out of my mouth. It's been so hard to breathe. I'm still gnashing teeth. You don't know how to be. What's my name? Are you glad that I'm here after so many years? Not a tad bit weird that I don't know which way to go. That I don't know which way to go.
And we're back.
Woo!
That was Double Dare's Westhead. We were talking as we were listening about the people who had a big involvement in this, and especially your band members.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this song, like I said before, like it really took a while. But eventually at one point, like probably a month out from going to the studio, I sent my band, Jimmy Diskin, Avery McGuire, Braden Janes, Rita Ryan, in our group chat. I sent them a Google Drive folder of all the demos in their state, and I was essentially just like, I think I'm done, other than like some lyrics, but I think my parts for this are written. And some were more fully fleshed out than others. This one specifically had a decent amount of room for some stuff to be added. And like Braden sent back a demo with some added percussion. And Jimmy took it upon himself on this song, all the songs, but especially this song, to really deck out the demo with some ideas, like stuff like the harmonica at the end and what ended up being the 12-string guitar solo. And yeah, so this song was really like I said, I mean, I spent a lot of time on this one and fleshing it out. But with that being said, I can only do so much, and I think something that I really fell into as a producer on this album, I really took it seriously. The idea of okay, so at the end of the day, production is knowing what you want and how to get it and the right people to get you there. And I think I just asked all the right people to be involved in this song. And yeah, so I mean, all my band members contributed to this. And then there's also a horn section arranged by Jake Bauman, and that section included Solomon Klein, Caleb Robinson, Joe Trahan, Zach Hood, Jack Kurtz, Sebastian Sarr. So they all played in the they all played the horns on this, and then there's also a choir that comes back throughout the whole album. If I list everybody in every big group that's on here, we're going to be here for 3 hours.
You can check out the Westhead
yes.
Instagram. For that.
Instagram and Bandcamp. Bandcamp has a more detailed listing of everybody involved. But yeah, this also includes. This was Ben Kramer on drums for this one. This was definitely like a Westhead family affair on this one. So it was the extended, even though my band contributed, the Bloomington-based band contributed a lot. This also, included so many people that I would consider, also being members of Westhead that came from home and helped a home in Chicago. That came from Chicago for this and played on it. But yeah, that's kind of bit of a summary. Jimmy, I'll go back. Jimmy played electric guitar, 12-string guitar, harmonica, sang in the choir, and sang background vocals on this song. So he was a workhorse on this. He on many songs on this album he plays more instruments than me. I played acoustic guitar, piano, vocals, bass, and also sang in the choir on this one. But yeah, Jimmy went off on this song.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, shout out Jimmy. This is last time you were on talking about and just like that, you had a completely different crew of people working, and I think, how do you make of it the different influence that the groups of people have had? Well,
for one, and just like that, and the EP before that were both kind of COVID-y. In that the fact that I was sending people these things and for the most part just getting files back and adding them to my, and I did everything myself in terms of the recording and engineering along with with Ben Kramer. So those sessions were just continually building over the course of months. This was the first time. Even though this band is full of audio engineers and our whole community is audio engineers, this was the first time we actually hunkered down in the studio. Right. And we wanted to make the most out of our 7 days that we had. We were there from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for 7 days straight. Whew. Yeah, some days were later. And we... God, I haven't mentioned Luca yet. Luca and Jack were my two... Luca Chazal, Jack Reed, also known as 2/3 of Citruses, Bloomington Sweethearts. They were my engineers on this album. Luca was also my co-producer and head engineer, and we spent so much time. If there's one key difference in terms of the influences of the people around me, it was Luca's involvement. Luca and I started working together while mastering. He mastered, and just like that, I sent a message to a big group chat we were in. I was like, anybody down to master an album? Luca said yes. We met. Throughout the course of mastering that album, we realized that we appreciated each other's tastes, and then from there, he was like, "Hey, you should have an EP's worth of songs to record over the summer at Primary Sound." And I was like, okay, all right, man. And this was one of those songs in that bunch of the EP. And we actually, when we went into the studio, this was still supposed to be an EP. I wrote 2 songs in the studio to stretch out the album. But yeah, Luca's influence was probably the biggest thing, along with the involvement of the Bloomington band. And just like that was a really simple album. It was a lot of myself just playing acoustic guitar and being able to throw stuff on top. And then also, I worked at Ben's house a decent amount, and so Ben was my main co-producer on that, and Ben was still heavily involved in the production of this album, and specifically me, Ben, and Lou were I feel like a really strong team on this album, and we worked together on more stuff that I won't spoil. But I think just new, really strong teams emerged after having to do a lot of COVID workarounds for 2 years of making music. So that was really awesome. Yeah, no, I would say the thing that strikes me about these songs is how full they are, and how you can just tell how many different voices are on them. Yeah. On the production with the instruments, on the choruses. I would love to talk more about your studio experience, but I would like to hit the next song as well. Absolutely. This next one is Without a Laugh. Bit of a vibe change, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after finishing up writing the first batch of songs, I went home for the summer. As soon as I got a hold of my grandfather's guitar, because I would take that to school, but my dad doesn't let me be in possession of that guitar. So I was very eager to start writing on that guitar when I got home. And day 2 of being home, I got home on like a Thursday night, and Friday morning I wrote this song. Just picking up my grandpa's guitar. I was just very inspired, and so this is Without a Laugh.
Without a Laugh, Westhead. Enjoy.
No one here is really what they seem. The ceilings cave on top of wooden beams, and all of them inside that little house want nothing more than food and getting out. Throw a ball and see if you can swing. I'll play a song until you start to sing. But I'll be going home without a laugh, thanks to every little judgment that's been passed. Growing up by this is always hard. A family's love can only go so far. I might not be here every single week, but for you I can always bet to speak.
And we're back. That was Without a Laugh, Westhead. I love this song, especially for the lyrics, and you seem to get pretty personal in it. I love the lyric to be a loving son, the youngest one. I see and know it all too well. If you could just talk a little bit about.
Thank you. Yeah, this song, this whole album is kind of just, you know, I think one of the harder things about growing up, I sometimes give myself a lot of crap for not like getting super like writing about some like super deep truths about life or whatever, but then that's like, okay, you're 22 years old. All you really know, I have the most experience being a child. I have 18 years of that experience. And so why would I really write about anything else at this point? What else do I know about? What else do I have 18 years of experience of? Nothing. So let me spend a little while thinking about that. And that's what I did on the Friend of Mine EP as well. It was a lot of childhood, a lot of nostalgia. And, you know, and one, like I was saying, one of the harder things about growing up is becoming cynical in areas that you didn't think you were going to be cynical in. So this album is kind of like song by song, evaluating how, the most cynical side of myself and why I've allowed myself to get there. So, to give a very, without giving away too much, because I would love people to make their own inferences about this album and think about it the way they want to think about it. But, you know, think about a dialogue between the most cynical version of yourself and the most pure, and the most cynical version of yourself and the most the most just pure child version of yourself that was starry-eyed and excited for life, and think about what it would be like if they talked to each other. So, you know, so this song is, you know, it's about becoming cynical about family, the thing that, you know, everybody holds closest to themselves, even if you come from a family that was not, you know, a family life that was not, you know, super healthy or amazing. It's still something you grew up thinking about all the time. It's still something that you know really well, and your relationship to it really well. And I had never really written about that before. So this one, it was hard to like let lyrics spill out about this one. I didn't, like I said, I wrote this in a day. I wrote this in like a couple hours. So the lyrics just kind of came out, and to be 11th son, the youngest one, I feel you know it all too well. I'm the youngest of three, and I thought it'd be important to like establish, you know, the angle that this song is coming from. I feel like there's a lot of youngest child energy on this album for sure. So, so that's definitely that's this area. It was a new area for me to write about. But I'm really glad that I think, even though, like I said, I'm hitting on like points of cynicism and like what my thoughts were, I feel like I really circle around in this song to being grounded and like not like I'm still saying I love my family, you know, but I'm also saying like, dang, sometimes people have flaws. Sometimes the people I love have flaws, and I never grew up thinking that. I grew up thinking these people are infallible. These are people I look up to, and nothing but that. And it's a very weird thing growing up and thinking, dang, you know, it's like extended family or like anybody, like you just might think. You might think about them differently, and I was not prepared for that growing up at all. This song is kind of just a meditation on that. I feel like we got to get moving on these songs. We're gonna listen to them all, but this is the first appearance of String Section, which was arranged by Luke Charlier, and the string section is Maya Toffler, Irene Castillo, Jamin Lee, and Kylie Dickinson as a string section. And they, oh my God, I cried when they did the first take of this song on strings. So shout out to them. Shout out to Luke for arranging. And yeah,
thank you. I'll just leave it at that. You said it perfectly. We shall go on to the next song, which is All the Same. It's crazy how much like this album ebbs and flows a little bit. You like never get too comfortable in one feeling.
Yeah.
But I love this one. Feels very Fleetwood Mac to me at the beginning.
Nice.
Talking to Jimmy, and he said this was the most improvisation that occurred.
We wrote this song in the studio.
I
On day like 4, I was like, you know what? Or day 3, I was like, you know what? I think I got 2 more songs in me, and I locked myself in one of the ISO rooms for 2 hours and came out with this song and the song Too Much. And I played pretty much everything on this song other than drums and electric guitar and trumpet. So I just kind of like, I just let them try. I told them to trust me, and I told them to just let me do one thing at a time. So yeah, this is kind of like this is mostly me on this song. But thank you for the Fleetwood Mac comparison. I was going kind of a Father John Misty feeling song as well. But also it's funny that you say this about the ebbs and flows thing, because this song was supposed to have like a 10-second fade in, and then I realized I kind of wanted it to slap the listener in the face, so it doesn't. It comes in really hot. But yeah.
Cool. Well, we're gonna listen to it right now. All the same, Westhead. Enjoy.
Day by day, Hemlock Lane, past my way, and I believe it called to me. The people there would stop and stare, their asses bare. They watch the show, scream hello. I love and hate it all the same, with my body and with my brain. I love and hate it all the same, with my body and with my brain. Then one day, on Hemlock Lane, the screams all change. I should leave. I should leave. It was nice loving life. I won't lie, but I should leave. I should leave. I love and hate it all the same, with my body and with my brain. I love and hate it all the same, with my body and with my brain.
And we're back. That was All the Same, Westhead. Tell me a little bit about Hemlock Lane.
Yeah, I mean, Hemlock Lane is a street I drove past every day going to work, from like 2020 to when I came to IU. And yeah, I mean, it just started showing up in my dreams sometimes. But like I said, every song is kind of just evaluating some cynicism that has popped into my ways of thinking, and I grew up always wanting to be a songwriter and to for people to listen to my music, and this song is kind of it's me thinking about, okay, but also, so this is your dream, this is your really big dream, you think about it all the time, but then as you start growing up, you start dreaming about it and you start thinking about the ways it can go wrong, and this song is kind of covering the fronts of okay, yeah, let's say you make it, let's say you start putting out music that people like and that people listen to. There's going to be some people who don't. There are going to be some people who I'm cool with criticism. I invite criticism. I love, especially if it's healthy criticism. But it's a different game if a lot more people start listening and talking about it, and that's scary. So this song is kind of just about me being scared about that possibility and scared about how I would react to people, not liking the stuff I pour my heart into, and so the song is supposed to kind of just, it's supposed to. Okay, so I was imagining so what if everybody who cared about this music lived on one street, and I could drive down that street, and then one day I go down that street and nobody cares anymore. And because that was like a nightmare I had. And so yeah, that's what this song is. Again, I played everything on it pretty much. Jimmy played electric guitar, Seth Good and Jack Reed played trumpet on it, and Braden James played drums on it. So yeah, this one pretty. It came together fast because I had written about it in like just long form, like free writing a decent amount, so I was able to pull lyrics out of just like passages I had written before. But yeah, that's all the same. I the lyric is love and hate it all the same with my body and with my brain, and that's just thinking about I love when people are able to talk about the stuff that I write, but it's scary to think about when it's not positive. So that's this one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that brings up a good point of you have accumulated quite a fan base, which has always been true, but I feel like I've heard of some really particularly great experiences that you've had with people and at your shows and listening to your music.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, since we last talked, kind of what's been the growth that you've seen and any experiences that really stand out to you?
Oh, I mean, the Bloomington scene's welcomed me with open arms, and I mean, I can't thank everybody in this scene enough for being so kind and welcoming, and but I'm sure they're gonna be listening right now, but they're at least listening after it comes out. But I went to we played a show in Indianapolis at this place called The Healer, and we had two great. God, it's weird to say fans, but two fans drove from Kentucky to come see us in India. I was like, and I didn't realize that I made a talk to them after the show, and I it's so wild to talk about. But they were like singing the songs the whole time, and I was like, who knows all these songs? We just drove an hour and a half to come play here, and people are singing these songs in the front row. And we talked to them after, and then they were like posting covers of the songs on Instagram after. It was wild. It was really awesome. It was like, and that was like, just one instance, but it was very sweet, and it meant a lot to me. So and it continues to mean a lot to me. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty that's a good positive with having 40 people involved on this album is a lot of them saw that it was also not only put their heart into it, but saw that everybody was putting their heart into it, and it gives people a reason to pass on the word. So not strategic on my part to let's get more people to play on this album so I get more people talking. I just wanted as many people involved as I could because I was proud of this stuff. But that's been really awesome too. I feel like it's just spread a decent amount. And I think I think this is strong enough, good enough work to hopefully that word of mouth keeps passing in the coming weeks and months.
It takes a village, and it's
a small town, a street, Hemlock Lane's worth of people.
Ooh, perhaps. No, yeah. When it's a community endeavor, I think people get excited.
Absolutely.
Because I guarantee you could pick somebody off the street and be like, "Oh yeah, my friend worked on the Westhead album in some capacity." Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Should we talk about 4 because we're going to skip it?
Yeah, we're going to skip it, but what would you like to say about this one?
Yeah, so I mean, we had, so we're going to skip track 4 because it's long and has curse words in it, but, boo, boo, boo. So yeah, I mean, I covered covered family cynicism. I covered like self-doubt on the third one. So this is about losing friendships. I feel like I needed to hit this. That was another thing I wasn't prepared for growing up and going to college was growing out of relationships and friendships and losing touch with people that you thought you never would lose touch with, or friends doing things that you never expected them to do. I really, really struggled with that last year. I was in a really hard place. And when it all kind of washed over me. So if you listen to track 4, that's what that's about. I'm a little heavy-handed with some of the lyrics there. So, make your own inferences on that one. I'm kind of glad I don't need to talk about it super in depth after listening about it, because that one's it's a bit much. But that was this is one of the 2 songs. I Ask Myself Again is one of the 2 songs, along with Fault Lines on the album, that was really like the Bloomington band, Avery, Reeder, Jimmy, Braden, and me. Like, I brought these to them, and it was we played them live in the studio, and it's us just playing. Not a lot added on top. It was a Westhead Bloomington chapter experience, which was really cool, and I'm very glad I was able to do that for 2 of these songs. So yeah, that's I Ask Myself Again. I hope you like that one when you listen to the record on your own.
Because you will be after this.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But what we are going to listen to next is Lauralee, which you have expressed to me is a favorite.
Yeah.
It's the album.
Probably my favorite song I've ever written, which is crazy because it came from such a loose, dare I say, lazy demo. That I kind of knew I did it. It was just the guitar part and some vocals and some harmonies. But I had a feeling there was something there, but it just wasn't my realm to do it. So I called my friend Luke, who did the string arrangement on Without a Laugh as well, and I was like, hey, you want to do string arrangement on this? And he said, of course. And then, to my surprise, not only did he send back a string arrangement, but he also sent back a massive choir arrangement as well. So this is, Lauralee features the chorus again, as well as the string section. Listen for yourself, because Luke's work on it is pretty amazing.
It's awesome. Lauralee, Westhead, enjoy. That was Lauralee,
Lauralee.
Westhead. Can I ask where the name comes from?
Yeah, that was. It's so funny. I feel like we spent on the last one I was on the show. I spent so long talking about Synecdoche, New York, and there's they mention they like the daughter of the main character mentions her new lover named Lauralee, and the daughter character is always dressed in floral type clothing, and usually because she's supposed to symbolize like growth and so yeah, there's a lot of like plant imagery with her character. So this song is supposed to take a break from it's supposed to feel like a dream state song. It's supposed to take a break from the pessimism, and feel like a dream and feel like an idyllic relationship. It's like I covered family and friends. You can only imagine where the next area of self reflection is going to go. So this is supposed to kind of be a reflection on like an idyllic, dreamlike relationship with a figure that is like kind of larger than life. I think I used the word muse there, but I mean it doesn't. This is at the time of writing this didn't exist. This is not a scenario that existed. So I was trying to just write a dream out. So yeah, Lauralee taken from Synecdoche, New York, like everything else I've ever done. But that's what Lauralee comes from, and the idea of being dressed in green, and again though, think Luke disarrangement is nuts, makes me cry. So this was like a super simple song, a super simple demo, and it got fleshed out in the studio, and having the choir sing on it was amazing, especially in the outro with the "I Will Never Let You Go" thens. Was hyper emotional when we did it. I was kind of losing it, so yeah, this song is very, very important to me, and I can't thank Luke enough for what he did on this one, because just remarkable stuff.
Shout out Luke. I have to ask, because you brought it up, just other influences on this project. It seems like a good amount of these songs have direct other song influences, but just kind of what guided you throughout making this album.
Yeah, I mean, this song you could listen to and be like, oh, this guy definitely is a Fleet Foxes fan, which I feel like you can do for most of my songs, but this one specifically feels like kind of a Fleet Foxes song. I mean, I've one of those things that you hopefully grow out of as a songwriter, as a young songwriter, is giving yourself a lot of crap for wearing your inspirations on your sleeve. But eventually you just got to realize, like, oh, okay, like the finished product always ends up different anyway, so why not lean into your inspirations to start with, and then eventually it's going to be a different thing anyway, especially if you start bringing people into it. So that happened. I think this one actually came from, so when I was writing My, the single that came out before this album, not on this album, but it came out between albums, this was the progression. This song is essentially My, but in a different key and slower. It's the same progression, and this was what my original pass of My sounded like, and I kind of had a demo of it, and that came from a song called I Can't Make It Anymore by Richie Havens. And I say came from that because it's in the same like tuning, and I like used some chord shapes that he did. So that, I mean, like, obviously if you listen to these songs back to back, they're not similar. So that's why I feel comfortable enough saying that. I really, really like having direct inspirations now. It makes me feel confident in what I'm doing, to be able to to know what I'm adding to an idea, to know what I'm building off of, makes me feel like I'm growing as a producer and as a songwriter and as an artist. I pretty confidently can list some inspirations off this for this album for sure. yeah, so I mean, like Fleet Foxes and Richie Havens for this one. I will say the next song, Postman's Dream, I don't know where that thing came from. This song, I mean, yeah, this is Postman's Dream, which coming up is maybe the most ambitious song I've recorded, and also the most like experimental from a form standpoint and a songwriting standpoint, and also like I really had to like run myself through the ringer from a musician standpoint. I was this song and Double Dares. I really like trying to flex some finger picking muscles on this one, and took a lot of takes, and my hand was sore for a couple days after we finished up recording this one. So yeah, Postman is kind of an adventure for sure. But yeah, we're running out of time, so let's listen to it.
Let's listen to it. Postman's Dream, Westhead. Enjoy.
Free to lie, to love, to hide. And I made my bed like you did that night. Ooh. Remember we, the postman's dream, before the band took their leave. What's mine was yours, an open door, the one to keep, hold the door. I'd love to hear some input here. All the ways you changed in a year.
Postman's Dream.
Postman's Dream.
What about that one?
I'll say I've gotten questions for sure already, like about Postman's Dream is kind of like in terms of like any kind of like metaphor I may come up with. That one's maybe a little out there, and I don't know what people would take away from this song if they just heard it and had to think about reading lyrics and if they'd be able to pull away what I meant by that is. But what I meant is everything I was talking about on Lauralee, kind of dream idyllic relationships, right? I was thinking about, okay, who would see a relationship every day from outside of that relationship? Somebody who's going to their house every day. Oh, somebody who's dropping off mail every day and can maybe peek into the window. So who could be jealous of a relationship and see it every day? Okay, maybe the mailman, maybe the postman. So that's where that lyric came from. And then the song's obviously a lot more. A lot different than Lauralee in terms of thoughts about a relationship and thoughts about when things start going sour. So yeah, that's kind of the general gist of lyrics on that one. But I feel I'd be remiss to not talk about my friend Armando on keys for that song. He played organ, piano, and tack piano on that song, just all over the keys. This song, oh God, very musically ambitious. And after I did my musically ambitious thing of the guitar part, I passed it on to other people to be musically ambitious with it. And Ben on drums, Jimmy on a bunch of stuff. This was another Jimmy Playground song, Jimmy and Armando Playground, where they just kind of did everything for a while and just you went crazy and just started adding a bunch of tracks to this song and made it a real big soundscape. So they brought this song to a different place again with Seth and Jack on trumpet as well. Very great last second addition to this song that we did. So that's Postman's Dream. Yeah.
I'm glad you stuck with the Postman and not like the Milkman or something.
Outdated references. The Milkman's Dream was from the Westhead album that came out in 1961. Right. Yeah.
That deep cut.
Remember the Milkman? The Mothman's Dream.
Ooh, okay, deep cut. I do think that we're only gonna have time to play one more song. Cool. And I feel like we should end with the closing track. Sure. If that's okay with you. Yeah. Okay. We are skipping.
Too much. Which too much? I'll talk about real quick. This is I wrote it in the studio. I feel like if there was one thing this album was missing when it was an EP, or this was missing when it was just an EP, was a moment of a deep breath. After this kind of main narrator just ranted about all of his issues for a bunch of songs. He needed to be like, sorry, everything is too much. I'm still growing up. I still don't really know how to take everything in and how to process everything around me. And I'm sorry if I come off a little heavy handed. I'm sorry that I'm getting cynical. I'm sorry that I'm not who I was 5 years ago. So that's what Too Much is. And, I was able to write it within a day because it was something that I knew needed to be said and something that I knew I had enough to say about. There's a lot of kind of Easter eggs in the lyrics on that song that call back to other songs on this album. So listen for that if you go back and listen to it. But Fault Lines, yeah, another one that was the Bloomington Band. This is the characters of this album kind of having a moment together at the end of it, and also again post Too Much, post that breath of. And a bit of clarity there, maybe somewhat of an apology song for being such a D-bag for the whole album and trying to clarify that I love everybody in my life. I love everybody around me. I love I love the opportunities I've been provided and the life that I've had so far. It just sometimes it's hard to handle the hard stuff. And do I need to worry about the mistakes I've made? Do I need to mend these things that have gone wrong in my life, or can I just learn how to deal with the stuff that has gone wrong? So, this is Fault Lines. Features the choir again with the
iconic lyric.
Lyric. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we're going to close the show off with. Max, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Natalie.
Of course. Yeah, I am very thrilled that you get to be on here to talk about this. Everyone, this has been Growing Pains at WIUX. I'm here every Friday at 3 p.m. And yeah, this is a very special show for a variety of reasons. But this is Fault Lines Westhead Stream. Stream Double Dares and
Fault Lines
Fault
Westhead Streams. Fault Line Westhead Streams. Thank you, Natalie.
You
Thank
can
you for
find them
listening,
Westhead
everybody.
Music, of course. And this is Fault Lines, and enjoy.
Too many times the fault lines catch up to me, and I hope you see. Go on, ask away, I'm waiting. Have you noticed? I don't know this. Gone down to see your family. It's time now. Stop this cloud. Look at all the ways I'm hurting. It's heavy, Mikey. How do you know the only way to make me cry? And how do I mend these fault lines? Well, I guess my heart's still beating. I'm okay.